graven by art and men's device. And the times of this ignorance the Most High winked at, but now commandeth all men everywhere to repent.
So that means all you Israelites are supposed to repent.
Right.
So when that hour of temptation come, you're going to be caught up in that hour of temptation.
Yep.
Because the word's been brought out to you. The Most High set up the men of the Lord, which is GMS. And some of them other Israelite groups that are out there that's not affiliated with GMS, they're bringing out truth too. But there's a lot of deceivers out there.
Yep.
And the Most High used us to go on YouTube since 2007. And it's almost 2012 or 2013. So that's going on 6 years. So you can't tell me that, oh, if I would have seen the men of the Lord, I would have listened to them. You saw the men of the Lord. A lot of you, people run into me all the time talking about, I saw you on YouTube, you know, teaching out the scriptures, teaching people that they're Israelites. And other brothers have told me that people have ran into them.
It says, because he hath appointed a day in the which he will judge the world in righteousness by that man whom he had ordained, whereof he hath given assurance unto all men, and that he hath raised him from the dead. And when they heard of the resurrection of the dead, some mocked, and others said, we will hear thee again of this matter. So
some of them Israelites mocked him, which they're doing today. Those are those same people that are back here today popping shit, so to speak, talking shit. But when the hour of temptation comes, they're going to wish that they listen to the truth. See, Jake thinks it's a big game. And Jake doesn't get serious until, fire's right on their ass. And they feel the fire and they smell the smoke coming from their flesh, burning off their bodies.
Gone.
There's going to be a time of reckoning, man.
Yep.
And it's very close.
I got a precept here. This is Hosea chapter 5 verse 15. I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense and seek my face. In their affliction they shall seek me early. All right, back in Acts chapter 17 verse 32. And when they heard of this resurrection of the dead, some mocked, and others said, we will hear thee again of this matter. So Paul departed from among them, howbeit certain men clave unto him and believed, among the which was Dionysius the Areopagite, and a woman named Damaris, and others with them. Acts 18:1. After these things Paul departed from Athens and came to Corinth, and found a certain Jew named Aquila, born in Pontus, lately come from Italy with his wife Priscilla, because that Claudius had commanded all Jews to depart from Rome, and came unto them. And because he was of the same craft, he abode with them, and wrought, for by their occupation they were tent makers. And he reasoned in the synagogue every Sabbath, and persuaded the Jews and the Greeks. And when Silas and Timotheus were come from Macedonia, Paul was pressed in the spirit, and testified to the Jews that Yahushua was the Messiah. And when they opposed themselves and blasphemed, he shook his raiment and said unto them, your blood be upon your own upon your own heads. I am clean. From henceforth I will go unto the Gentiles, which are the Israelite foreigners. And he departed thence and entered into a certain man's house named Justus, one that worshipped the Most High, whose house joined hard to the synagogue. And Crispus, the chief ruler of the synagogue, believed on the Lord with all his house. And many of the Corinthians, hearing, believed and were baptized. Then spake the Lord to Paul in the night by a vision, be not afraid, but speak, and hold not thy peace. For I am with thee, and no man shall set on thee to hurt thee. For I have much people in this in this city. And he continued there 1 year and 6 months, teaching the word of the Most High among them. And when Gallio was the deputy of Achaia, the Jews made insurrection with one accord against Paul and brought him to the judgment seat, saying, This fellow persuaded men to worship the Most High contrary to the law. And when Paul was now about to open his mouth, Gallio said unto the Jews, If it were a matter of wrong or wicked lewdness, O ye Jews, reason would that I should bear with you. But if it be a question of words and names and of your law, look ye to it, for I will be no judge of such matters. And that proves to you that these other nations, these heathens, these Edomites, they're not concerned with dealing with the truth and with the knowledge of the scriptures. You know, they're just concerned about making money, and that's about it. If they could use the Bible to make money, damn right they're gonna do it. But they're not concerned with dealing with matters that concern the scriptures. That's why the Gallio told him that. He said, but if it be a question of words and names and of your law, look ye to it, for I will be no judge. I will be no judge of such matters. And he drave them from the judgment seat. Then all the Greeks took Sosthenes, the chief ruler of the synagogue, and beat him before the judgment seat. And Gallio cared for none of those things. And Paul, after this, tarried there yet a good while, and then took his leave of the brethren, and sailed thence into Syria, and with him Priscilla and Aquila.
Yeah, like he said, and sailed into Syria. Now you had a lot of Israelites in the land of Syria right now.
Yep.
There's a major conflict going on in Syria, and a lot of those people out there in Syria that are fighting in that conflict, a lot of them are Jakes that stayed over, because we put our seed in everything. Anywhere we go, the seed remains. Yep. You know how many so-called Vietnamese kids are really Ephraimites or Judites or Gadites? Yep. Or Benjaminites by way of the Vietnam conflict, the Korean conflict. You got this one guy named Ben Henderson, and he's the one of the UFC champions of the lighter weight, and he looks like a Jake or a Gadite, long hair, and but you can kind of see that his eyes are kind of like chinky. Now his father was a military man, and I think he met the Korean his mother over there in Korea when he was fighting that war, if I'm not mistaken. But I know his father was a military man. His father had left the house, and the Korean woman had raised up him and I believe his brother up. You know, so that spirit that he has to beat people's ass is from the side of his father.
Yep. It says, having shorn his head in Cenchrea, for he had a vow, and he came to Ephesus and left them there. But he himself entered into the synagogue and reasoned with the Jews. When they desired him to tarry longer time with them, he consented not, but bade them farewell, saying, I must by all means keep this feast that cometh in Jerusalem. But I will return again unto you, if the Most High will. And he sailed from Ephesus.
Right, he said he had to keep the feast, right? Now that goes back to the law. So Paul kept the laws.
That's right. Says, and when he had landed at Caesarea and gone up and saluted the church, he went down to Antioch. Salakia. And after he had spent some time there, he departed and went over all the country of Galatia and Phrygia in order, strengthening all the disciples. It says, and a certain Jew named Apollos, born at Alexandria, an eloquent man and mighty in the scriptures, came to Ephesus. This man was instructed in the way of the Lord, and being fervent in the spirit, he spake and taught diligently the things of the Lord, knowing only the baptism of John. And he began to speak boldly in the synagogue, whom when Aquila and Priscilla had heard, they took him unto them and expounded unto him the way of the Most High more perfectly. And when he was disposed to pass into Achaia, the brethren wrote exhorting the disciples to receive him, whom when he was come helped them much which had believed through grace. For he mightily convinced the Jews, and that publicly, showing by the scriptures that Yahushua was the Messiah. That's the end of the 18th chapter.
Okay, so with that, we're gonna end it, and check us out the next installment, and we go into the 19th chapter. So with that, I'm gonna say shalom.
Shalom.